What is good? How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a great day. My name is Jobless Bum, as always, and today we are going to be taking a look at the internet's hottest takes. Yes, we're going to be reacting to r/unpopular opinion and see if these opinions are unpopular or maybe even if they are based. Here we go. First unpopular opinion. It's your fault that you are in the friend zone. As a guy, it's incredibly frustrating to hear from other men who say they've been friend zoned or are in the friend zone like it's some form of prison. Entering the friend zone is always a voluntary process for a guy, and you can leave at any point. For example, you're on a first date from Tinder, you ask her for a second date, but she says that she'd rather be friends. You can simply and politely decline her offer for friendship and part ways amicably. Number 2, you have a prior acquaintance with a woman, coworker for example, and ask her out for a drink. She prefixes this by saying, as friends, right? You can, again, politely state that this was a romantic offer, and to avoid complicating the situation, you can retract the offer. The only situation in which you may want to continue a friendship with a woman who you may have a romantic interest in would be if you were friends prior. But it's on you to move on from your romantic afflictions and continue the friendship with no ambition for anything else. So my initial thoughts on this are that I generally agree with this because as the OP says, it is your choice. You can just end the friendship, right? However, I think there's a couple things that complicates this. Number 1, I completely agree with the first example. Like that's your fault. Like that's like explicitly stated. Right? This is presumably someone that you don't know and have no connection with, and there's really no consequences to ending the friendship. However, for the second example, a coworker, maybe you were already friends, maybe they were like an acquaintance, right? For you to put out, that you have a romantic interest in someone like that, I feel like is a pretty bold move, right? And I think it's something that probably needs to be done. If I was in this situation, I would probably want to make that known, just because, you don't want to have any regrets in life, right? It's a difficult situation because no matter what, unless both people are extremely mature and can put aside their feelings, right? And I'm not this mature, I think that it will forever change your friendship. And that can be very awkward for someone who's an acquaintance, right? Someone that your friends really care about, right? So it's a tough situation. I agree with that it's your fault if you're in the friend zone. Not a good situation, I feel like. Or it's an uncomfortable situation, at least. Every time you hang out or whatever, you still see this person. I think that's a difficult situation. And I don't know necessarily that it would be their fault. I think it's a little easy for someone who hasn't had this situation before to say it's on you to move on from your romantic afflictions and continue the friendship with no ambition for anything else. I can see how it would be difficult. I think people who are harp on about the friend zone are very cringe. Oh my god, the friend zone is the worst thing to ever happen. If you get in the friend zone, you're a simp. You're such a pathetic loser, right? I don't agree with that. Friend zone them first. We smart Giga Chad. You know what? That is the ultimate Sigma move, right? I find it very hard to relate to people who, want a romantic relationship because, to be honest, I'm already in a very loving marriage, like Fetty Wap, actually. I am also married to the money and am never letting go. So I find it very hard to relate to non-Sigmas. Girl Scouts are a creepy scam. I was a Girl Scout for almost 9 years, and let me just say, it was horrible. The activities we did were essentially all make a hand turkey until cookie selling season came. Then suddenly everything got intense. Little girls sitting at tables for over 5 hours during their weekends is very hard to expect. Suddenly, everything was about money and selling cookies only to get a Claire's necklace for over $500 of sales. Then when you get older, the cookies are just immediately not an option for you because no one wants to buy cookies from teenage girls. They want those cute little girls. That's the whole point. When I sold cookies at the age of 7, I was constantly called cute and adorable for doing basically anything. It was creepy as hell. You'd have guys coming up and asking about every single cookie. And then suddenly it's about how you're doing in school, only to not buy anything. Free child labor. Isn't that great? Oh wait, you're paying to be a part of Girl Scouts. You're literally paying to do work as a kid. That is actually based. I always felt that was weird. I was like in Boy Scouts and like that was like not as weird. We sold popcorn and I remember as like a kid, I was like, oh my God, why are we like out here? Why are we out here at Walmart, like sitting outside of Walmart, just waiting for people to come up to us and buy our popcorn? Most people don't want the shit, but they'll like fucking talk your ear off. And it's very clever marketing by whoever's running the Girl Scouts. I don't know if they run themselves or if they have some secret overlord. But Poppy say social rank pyramid scheme. People cheer. Let's go! Yes! I love pyramid schemes for 7-year-olds. Let's go! Girl Scouts franchise owners looking at those green percents on monthly takes. True. I feel like, so like with Boy Scouts, like I feel like Boy Scouts do like a lot of like outdoors stuff and whatever. And I think Girl Scouts do the same kind of stuff that Boy Scouts do. But literally all you ever hear about Girl Scouts is like them like selling the cookies and like the Girl Scout cookies. You never hear about the other shit they do. It's almost like the OP says, like they're using just the charm of little girls to sell cookies, which is very weird. I, as a non-American, love the USA. A short list of a few things I love about the US. Geography, plus how every state is almost like a new country in itself. How friendly the vast majority of people are there. The wildlife, the food, and how much variety there is. The sheer amount of choice you have everywhere you go. How everywhere you go feels like being in a movie. The sports there. NA, brother, let's go! I feel like America gets a lot of undeserved hate. Okay, yes. Are there things that America does bad? Yes. But there's a lot of things that a lot of countries do bad, right? On like a level, it's weird like how much America gets shit on. Like when we don't talk about like how dumb some of the stuff from like other countries is. No, but I do agree with all of these things. That's why I love the US. Like the geography, like there's a lot of variety in the US. How friendly the vast majority of people are there? I don't know if I'd agree with that one, but to each their own. The wildlife, maybe if you go to like the desert, the food and how much variety there is. Now that I agree. I agree with that. There's a lot of variety of food, especially if you go to different places in America. Maybe not like in bloody old Ohio, but in the rest of the US, there's a lot of variety. Sheer amount of choice you have everywhere you go. Lots of choice. I mean, you can choose from McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. Lots of different choices. How everywhere you go feels like being in a movie. I don't know about that. And I do love the sports. People are very passionate about sports here. The food, everything is just sugar-coated grease with banned ingredients. That's not true. That's not true. That's ignorant. That's like me saying that like literally all Scottish food is just like us like sticking shit in animal intestines. And that's not right. And your summarization of the American food culture is also not right. You're making broad, sweeping generalizations that are simply not based in reality or fact. At least it's natural. Yeah, you know what else is natural? You know what else comes out? You know what else is in your body? Fucking shit. And no, but we're not eating shit. How is that? How is that it's natural? How's that a good argument? We have high fructose corn syrup, brother. I do appreciate this OP going on a actual unpopular opinion for Reddit and the internet at large for non-Americans. Props to you, OP. Fuck acronyms and their excessive use these days. You read the title. Fuck acronyms. Why does everyone assume everyone else knows what the fuck they're talking about by using these random acronyms? It doesn't save that much time and is so fucking annoying. If you're going to use an acronym, use it, then in parentheses, out what it means. For example, FA. Fuck acronyms. And FUYUFA. Fuck everyone who uses acronyms. Fuck you all. Sorry, this is an opinion and a rant, but seriously, stop using so many acronyms. It's not helpful. I generally agree with this. I don't think this is very necessarily a unpopular opinion, right? You gotta know your audience, right? So some acronyms, probably some people aren't gonna know, right? If you like know the other person knows what you're talking about, like, for example, I'm just using a football analogy. So like Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a striker for Everton, right? If you're posting on r/soccer or you're posting on a football forum, right? You saying DCL people will probably know what you're talking about. If this is going to be something that's going to be seen by a lot of different people, if you're posting about it in the BBC, you probably shouldn't say DCL because people won't know what you're talking about. In certain situations, I think acronyms are very useful, right? But I think that people are starting to use them too much. I think I agree with this OP. I think people think there's like a unified culture on the internet where they think that people may know more about what they're talking about than they actually do. So someone might use an acronym that they think that most people will know about, but then it turns out that a lot of people don't know about it or don't know what it means. So I think acronyms are useful if you know the general knowledge level of the people that you're communicating with. Can you explain this gap in your resume? Is totally rude and completely inappropriate to ask. I work in a field where, fortunately, this question doesn't necessarily come up, but to hear other people say that employers ask, can you explain this gap in your resume, is both perplexing and infuriating to me. It's insane and invasive. It implies that not working is inappropriate somehow and must be answered for. I know many people who scrimped and saved to take a hard-earned months off vacation. I know people who were worked to the bone, burned out, and then fired, and had to mentally regroup from taking months. People who took a year to travel the globe before having children, or hell, taking time off to have children and focus on that. I know people who saved money to take time to focus on a personal project like writing a script or working on a film. Things that have no immediate monetary value but hold meaning because the individual deemed them important. The gap in my resume? It's absolutely none of your business. That's what it is. Take a look at my credentials, take a look at my work, get to know me personally. I don't care if it takes multiple interviews to establish that. I'm sorry, I gotta disagree with this. I don't think it's rude and completely inappropriate. I think that's a bit of a strong language. I think if you're gonna show up with a resume, right? And like you have a gap in your resume, I think it's perfectly okay to ask about a gap in the resume. You want to know like the full story. You want to have a holistic view of what someone has done, right? And if you don't put that on the resume, I think it's natural for an employer to ask about it. Because if you really want to like not just see people as like cogs in the machine, then you know, you shouldn't just look at like someone's work experiences. Maybe you should take a look at their like life experience, maybe some skills that they have. And I think it's okay for employers to want to know about that. It's also within your right to not disclose that information. I don't think it's completely rude and inappropriate to ask. Redditors have a hard time coming to terms with the fact that Reddit is social media and you can't quit all social media without quitting Reddit too. Oh guys, I just deleted all social media and I feel so much better. No drama, no misinformation, no ridiculousness. I'm totally above it all now, guys. Says the Redditor currently posting in Reddit. Just to get this out of the way, Reddit is social media. When Reddit applied to go public, guess what they listed themselves as? Social media. When Reddit asks people to advertise, those contracts state Reddit is social media. If Reddit wasn't social media, a bunch of companies have a right to sue, and they just submitted fraudulent documents to the SEC. There'll still be Redditors in the comments arguing otherwise. Laugh at them. All that shit you hate on Facebook happens here too. You want to delete all social media, the Reddit account has to go too. And of all social media, it's the least valuable to you. Make a Facebook page and get lots of followers, and you can use that page for your own advertising or sell it for a grip of money. Get a load of followers on Instagram and you can make a ton of money. Get a ton of upvotes in Reddit, just as useless as the account with 100 karma. I generally agree with this. I think that, especially with Reddit, and for that matter, YouTube and Twitch, I think people often like don't categorize them as social media. Maybe they're different than other social medias like Facebook or Twitter. I think it also has something to do with how you interact with the chosen platforms, right? With Facebook and Instagram, at least for me, I feel a lot more invested in those platforms personally because, like, you know, those are people that I know. I think there is a difference between Reddit and YouTube and Twitch and perhaps some other social medias, and with, you know, more traditional ones like Facebook or Instagram. I think the difference is that on Reddit or Twitch or YouTube, you're generally not forming long-lasting relationships with people. which is where like a lot of like the social media problems happen, is when you replace your interaction with people with online interaction. Like social media is supposed to be supplementing your real life relationships, not like completely replacing them. Reddit, I think there's less of that than there is on like a Facebook or a Twitter or an Instagram. But I think you could definitely have that happen to you where like you're just spending all your time on Reddit and you're like having conversations with people that you don't even know, right? Laughably so, I think like a lot of people say like touch grass. But for some people, I feel like some people need to touch grass. Some people need to just have a fresh breath of air. When I see people getting like so enraged in the comments, and I see some people on Twitter just posting like every like 5 minutes, like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year, multiple years. And it's like, how is that? What kind of effect is that having on us mentally? There's healthy ways to engage with it. If you're quitting social media to avoid like circle jerks and misinformation, then I think that you should also quit Reddit, because there's a lot of that on Reddit. But I think it's also possible to have a healthy relationship with social media and Reddit where you're not getting enraged or like influenced by those kinds of things. So I think overall, I feel like you don't have to quit social media. I think you can have a healthy relationship with social media. The majority of people who just suddenly quit social media joined it back again in a month. True. A lot of people who go on like these tirades, how they're quitting social media, they'll be back. Let's take a look at the time. Give them a couple months and they'll be back. They'll be posting the same inane garbage that they were posting before. But yeah, I definitely agree. Reddit is a social media and you can use it in a way that's very unhealthy. I think this is a valid opinion. And I think it is an unpopular opinion. So good post. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the unpopular opinions listed in this video, and maybe drop some unpopular opinions of your own. I'd love to hear them. Also, if you are interested in watching these videos as they happen live on twitch.tv, definitely go check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/jobless_bum, so you never miss out on the pog tent ever again. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.